Hello and welcome to the All About Pigeons podcast. I'm Phil,
I'm Chris.
and we got a special treat for you today. We brought on somebody who actually knows something about pigeons. We got the one and only Ricky Gonzalez from the V.F.R.C Roller Club here in Phoenix, Arizona. How you doing, Ricky?
Oh, pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing good, man. Thanks for coming on here and setting us straight. You're going to teach us everything we need to know about how to make some world champion roller pigeons, right?
I need to teach myself that.
So
that's
We'll have to put this on Patreon if you got all that info.
I know. Yeah, that's worth charging right there.
Make some money off of that. I had that recipe.
So you've been into pigeons for a while. What was your start into pigeons and kind of specifically the rollers?
I've been around pigeons and specific rollers all my life. I have my brothers and game birds and roosters and stuff like that. So it was an upbringing in South Central LA where we're from. You know, it's a big hobby out there. Came to Arizona, they brought it along with, and yeah, really, my brothers were the ones that introduced me into rollers, and I've been around them all my life, and finally got serious with them myself. Got out of the service in 2009, and about a year later got myself a house and decided I needed some birds, and I needed another headache in my life, so I got some rollers.
Have you had a chance to compete in any of the World Cup flies?
The World Cup flies, I believe I competed once. I've done multiple flies. I think the World Cup I've only done that one once. I think I've done the national fly for the V.F.R.C. I've done that one since 2017, I believe, is when I started competing. I was more successful, so I've been more successful in that when I qualified for the state of Arizona as a regional qualifier in 2019. Placed third in the nation that year, so that was a good year for me. 2020, we didn't have anything going on. 21 or 22 last year, I qualified again for the regional, and then made it to the final dance, but that didn't go so well. It was a very windy, stormy day, and so our birds didn't do so well. So that's the national. So I've been pretty good in the national. State flies, or within V.F.R.C, I've won the young bird fly in 2022, and then won the V.F.R.C club champion 2022 as well. So I won onesie twosies. Yeah, won a couple. You're gonna in this hobby, and especially rollers, you're gonna probably lose more than you're gonna win.
Yeah, with and with being a part of the V.F.R.C. I guess I didn't even think about that, but yeah, you guys really break down a lot of the different flies and the way you compete there too. I mean, like you're saying, the state and the national. That's something I wasn't even really too aware of, honestly.
Yeah. There's a couple. I know you mentioned the World Cup, and then you have your nationals. So for the V.F.R.C, that's a national one, and then you have your club championship, your club competition as well. I mean, we have, and then V.F.R.C itself. I mean, we have some really tough flyers here in Arizona. In Arizona, I mean, a lot of people. I don't know if anybody is familiar with some of the flyers that live in Arizona, but you got some big names and some good flyers. You have a national champion here. You have a couple, just to name a couple off my head. Alan Weaver is always he's a one that's been competing for a long time, hard competitor. My brother Charlie Gonzalez, matter of fact, for the World Cup that just happened, he ended up placing third in the world. That's a big feat.
I saw that, man. He scored like a 7-something, right?
I believe he scored 460 something, but he's still third. I mean, the guy that took second was only like 20 points away from him, and then the guy that took first place, he ended up scoring like 1,000. So he must have had one hell of a kid, and I'm sure he did. So, but yeah, those are top feats right there. That's hard to do.
Yeah. Some of these new high scores, 1,000 points on up. That's incredible. Those guys are really putting together some serious teams.
Hey, man. Guys, can you guys explain for me, the guy that doesn't know anything about rollers, what a fly is?
So fly, so a competition fly, 20 birds. Well, it varies. You can go anywhere from 15 to 20 birds. You make up your team. You have 20 minutes to try to score as many points as possible with your team. Minimum depth that they have to row is 10 feet. And more than 5 birds have to break together or row together at the same time to score. Some of these, you also get multipliers depending on the depth, the quality of the birds. So there's different multipliers that you can achieve as well. The breaks, depending on how big the breaks are. So, between 5 and 9, they're just single digit, breaks. So if you get 6, you get 6 points. But if you get anywhere between 10 and, I believe it's 10 and 13 or 10 and 15, it doubles, and then it triples. There's a triple, and then there's a quadruple one. I believe it's when you hit all 20 birds break at the same time, but that's a very rare feat. I don't know many
that's
people
when a
who've
nuke
done
goes
that,
off.
But yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, I think I've yet to see one of those. Yeah.
So the breaks, that's when your birds are rolling. Am I wrong?
Yeah, that's when your birds are rolling together, 5 or more. Yeah, 5 or more. A lot of the it's just rollers are just like kind of like homers, where you have different strains. There's some strains that are built to break bigger than others. It depends. I mean, you can get some pretty big breaks, and then when you see those go off, when you see those 10+ bird breaks, I mean, that's it's amazing, man. That's what made me fall in love with it.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome to watch. Out there, first day of dove season, watching birds fly. Every time I heard a shot, oh, he got him. One rolling. Pretty neat stuff. But
rolling for, yeah.
It was good. It was good. So when you say 5 at a time, now is that one coming out of the air and then 2 following and then 3, 4, 5, or is that all at the same time? What happens if I get 5 that go all at the same time and one comes in, say, quarter of a second later?
It has to be a simultaneous break. So give me 1 second. There's, when you have birds, so some people, they want you to break, depends, and that's where it gets a little tricky with the breaks, because some judges want your birds to set up, break from the front, boom, you get your 5+ more birds, and you get the points. Some they roll from the back. It's not always a bad thing, but usually you want them to break from the front. You want the whole team to stop, wait for each other, boom, break, you get your points. And they have to be, if you 5 roll, one rolls after that, they don't count that 6-1. It's just the 5 that go together. Okay. You can, the points, if the birds are flying back towards the kit, they still count as a part of the kit, so you'll still score points if 5 or more break. If you have more than 2 birds out, or depending on how many birds you're flying, if you have more than 2 birds that come out of the kit and are coming right back to the kit or shooting right back to the kit, and 5 break, then they don't count.
Okay,
so that's where it gets tricky, and that's where you as a trainer, you got to make sure. Yeah.
And your kit, that's your group of birds, right? That's your flock.
That's team. Your group of birds, correct?
Right.
Your flock. Mm-hmm.
And your outbirds, those are birds that are not flying with the group.
Those are birds that are not flying with the group, correct?
Right.
Okay. Those are considered outbirds, yeah. And those are the ones that they should be releasing on dove season, start of dove season. Let them out. Let them get.
So you're talking about how there's different bloodlines, like with how there are with homers. You got the Scions and the Van Loons and stuff like that. And with the rollers, I've heard of like the Masons and the Higgins and Weavers and Turners and stuff like that. Is there any specific line of rollers that you really key in with, and is that your family that you're working with or prefer? Or?
Yeah, the ones that I'm working with now they're an English-based bird, so they are the Masons. Those are the ones that I'm focusing on there. They've been really good birds for me. I mean, real good, just like I said, like your homers. So they got really good kit sensitivity, so they like to break together, they like to stick together. Really good homing ability. I had a different strain before, and I just kept having overflies with the birds, where I would fly the kit together, they would come out, they'd be very active. but then they'd fly into the sunset, and I'd lose a whole kid. I wouldn't get any back. So I went over to this new strain, these English birds, and yeah, if you want to know about heartbreak, man, that's heartbreaking when you have a team disappear on you like that. But there's a lot of different factors that lead into that, so I can't necessarily blame that always on the family of birds. But I found this family, and they're good rollers. They really good kit competition birds, and like I said, they have really good homing ability, and they just work for me. Yeah. These are the ones that I'm working with. I think I have two pairs of like a color project that I got going on. But those are just more for me, not really for competition.
Color must be them Turner birds.
Some Turner. Yeah, they are the Turner birds. Got two pencils. I have an almond, and then I have another opal hen that's coming along. It's coming in the mail soon. So that'll be my two pairs, and that's just for me, just for shows if I want to go show them off, or just for me. But they do roll though. They do have some really good velocity. They are, show them off.
So you fly your best color? You fly all of them? You put some to the side?
No, they all fly, man. First and foremost, when it's rollers, they got to be selected out of the air. So everything that I have, I'm testing out. So, the breeders that I have, they were given to me. So I didn't get a chance to fly the breeders. So now I'm kind of working on my first steps of creating, working with my own family. So everything that comes out, everything that I breed is going to fly. They have to be, selected out of the air first and foremost, before you get into some of that other nitty-gritty stuff. Yeah. So
I won't breed anything that won't fly. How do I know if it flies?
Yeah,
I don't.
I won't either.
I just love to fly the birds too. If it flies away, it flew away. That's what a great life. They got fed every day, and they found somewhere else to feed.
With the rollers, feed is like a really big point too. I've heard a lot of different things about like, just Milo, or even like just the amount of protein you're feeding. And when my son had problems with his rollers getting kind of fat and lazy, we cut back on the feed, and it made a big adjustment in the way they were flying. Is there anything that you found that works really well with getting your birds up and flying for a good time? And
you're pretty much feed is 80% of the battle when it comes down to rollers. It's very, very crucial. With the birds that I have now, for example, the English Mason birds that I have now, I fly them on a 3-2-1 mix. So it's 3 parts wheat, 2 parts Milo, 1 part barley, and that seems to be the ticket for me. It keeps them healthy. I call it a balsa effect, where they're like a light, where you can feel that they're sturdy, they're healthy, but they're not overweight and not too light. They're perfect, a perfect balance.
They're buoyant.
So the barley, I use it as buoyant, exactly. And I use it as a tool. So what happens is,
sorry guys,
when I feed them that 3-2-1 mix, what's going to happen is that helps me. The barley helps me gauge whether I overfed or underfed. If they leave the barley, that means I fed them too much. So I need to cut it back a little bit, and I can do that the next day. As soon as I see that barley being left behind, I know I've overfed them, and that's a problem, because that's when you start getting those overflies. They fly too high, they fly too long, and they get too strong on you. So that's my gauge, and that's a method that George Mason uses out in England, and so I've kind of used it. Well, I've started using it here as well, and it works for me. I like it. You can feed. With my other birds, I try to keep them at a 12% mix. That was pretty good. I just try to keep away from the corn. It's not too cold in Arizona, where I don't think we really need the corn here. So no corn. So I used to feed that 12% no corn from, I believe it's.
But you're mixing it though, right?
Mix. But yeah.
Winner's circle.
Yeah, the 3-2-1 mix. Yeah, the 3-2-1 mix. The wheat, Milo, barley, I keep it separate.
Yeah.
So yeah, keep the wheat separate, the Milo separate, the barley separate, and that's a plus about being able to feed like that. Also, is that I can adjust as well. If I see them getting a little too weak on me, then I can up the weight and get them a little, a little fed up. Usually those rollers, I mean, as much as you love watching them roll and you love watching them fly, a lot of people keep them, keep them nice and chunky up into the moment of competition. And then you kind of start breaking them down a little bit, and you start getting more activity out of them, more roll out of them. You don't want to deteriorate the bird either, but you give them a little beat down with the feed, and you start getting more activity out of them. You lose some of the quality in the roll, but you start getting those big breaks, those 10 plus bird breaks at the same time. So it's complicated, and you're not always going to hit it right on the nail. Unfortunately, they could be doing good one day, next day judges here ready to judge you, and they do the complete opposite of what you thought they were going to do. So it's hit or miss. All you could do is just try to up your odds and open the door. Another thing, as far as the
got him mesmerized.
Yeah.
Oh, you broke up there.
Sorry, guys. I'm just muting. My lovely wife just got home, and my dog said hi. Apologize.
So with one of the other things, I mean, because roller pigeons are just I love all performing breeds of birds anyway, and with the rollers, that's those are some real athletes for sure. And there's so many different things, like you're saying, how important feed is. So what about, like, I've heard this too, kind of boxing them up, keeping them in the kit box for a certain period of time and letting them get a little antsy and then turning them out? Or is flying them every day the thing? I know we had a problem with, my son would fly his every day right after school, but then when we were so on the clock with it, we started getting more birds of prey that, I swear that they were watching it too. They knew exactly, 4:30, but I mean, I've heard things about, like, let your birds sit in the box for a minute, like a day, a week, whatever. And then when you turn them out, they're going to be real antsy. They're going to want to jump up there and fly really good for you. I've also heard that letting them just free fly will actually kind of pull the roll out of the bird.
That's kind of that goes into that fit bird. A fit bird will resist the roll. So the stronger they become and the more you fly them, the stronger they're going to become. They start becoming more resistant to the roll. So you'll start seeing that performance kind of, it'll go away. And then you start beating them up a little bit. You lock them up for a little bit and let them get fat, and then start flying them again and beat them down again. And then boom, you'll get that performance come back in. So that's where you got to balance them out. I try to keep a couple, I like flying birds every day. So I keep a couple kits when I can. And so I'll fly, a kit one day, skip the next day, fly another kit, and just rotate them. My main competition birds, I'll fly them twice a week, twice a week. And in between between those 2 days, everything else gets to fly. And like I said, I'll keep them in a rotation and rotate them. The box, I mean, everybody has their ways. Everybody has, a secret or a way they like to do their competitions, or certain, tricks and tools that they like to use. The box, I'm not a big fan of it. There's a guy on YouTube who goes by the name of Heine Biker, 4-time world champion. So he knows a thing or two. Yeah, to be able to win 4 world championships, you got to know something. And when I first started getting into the rollers, I used to watch a lot of his videos. And so he used to, be big against the small kit boxes and, the dark kit boxes. He wanted to make sure the kit boxes were big to where you can all the purchase at the back so you could see the birds. And I think he was on point with what he had to say. He said, how do you know what your birds are doing if they're just locked up in a teeny little box and you can't see them? If you can't see them, then how do you know if a bird, if your bird's sick or a bird's not feeling well? If you see and observe your birds every day, you can see when one's off. So you'll see when one's sick and say, hey, you know what, this guy doesn't look right, so I got to pull him out, take a look at him and say, you know what, yeah, this guy's sick, I need to move him out of the way. And if you have him in a small kit box, dark kit box, you don't know. So I became a big believer in the big open kit boxes, so the dowel fronts. I think I used a little, what are they, 1/2 inch by inch little boards, and so I made mine similar to that. So My kit boxes are about 5.5 feet tall, 3 feet deep. All the perches are on the back, box perches. And I could see right through, and I could see every single bird, and I know what, I can keep an eye on my birds. I take a look at them right before I fly them, make sure they're all, looking healthy, and let them out. The other thing here in Arizona, I just don't think box kit boxes like that are to me healthy for a bird when they're just sitting inside an oven all day, especially as hot as it's been here.
That'd be pretty tough to live in a box out here.
Yeah.
So what's your my
Yeah.
takeaway from
Yeah.
what you just said was that instead of using a Volkswagen bus for my kit, I should be using a Chevy Suburban.
Suburban, yeah, Suburban or Excursion if you can find one.
For sure. Well, I mean, if
Keep them healthy. There,
I'm still playing around with my setup. I mean, you see, I make a new one every couple of months. So I'll have a big one, little one, double, whatever. I'd like to do the European style loft, where they've got the boxes in the back of the loft, and then just open the front door. Because that's how I was flying them out of. That's why I was flying them before. Was out of a big old loft, and they still rolled. I don't know if they rolled.
Oh yeah, those are sweet. Yeah, those are sweet.
It'd just be inside.
Yeah, I had a club member that did something similar to that, the European style kit boxes, or the loft setup, and the kit boxes inside were big stand-up kit boxes like that, and I liked them a lot. I think in the future I'll do something like that.
A lot of that just is dependent on what a guy's got to use too. Not everybody has a lot of space.
There's no setting.
That's why the pigeons are cool, because you can fly them in a small amount of space.
Yeah, especially with the rollers. I mean, I think compared to some of the larger birds like racing homers and stuff, you can get away. I've seen some pretty small. Looks like they're flying them out of lockers sometimes. I'm surprised how many pigeons come out of those things.
Well, bottom line is, if you can see them in the air, your yard doesn't need to be very big. I mean, there's some pretty small pads with rollers flying out of them. The sky is where it's at. You're watching them in the air anyway.
Yeah, that's right. And there's a bunch of guys out there in California that fly like that. They don't have big yards out there, and they fly out of little yards, but
they're in the street watching them. It's cool.
Next week at the convention, so that'll be fun.
I really wanted to go to that. It's not going to happen this year. Something cool happened, so I gotta do something else.
Yeah. Well, if you're just getting into rollers and that's something that you want to do, if you get to catch, one of these conventions and stuff, and go out there and you get to drive around, bus around for a couple days and check out different lofts, different setups. It gives you ideas for what, something that you might want in the future. You see different birds, different families. To me, as a competitor, I love that. I love that because one thing that I always told myself is that I wasn't going to become loft blind and think that I had the best birds in the world and just say, best birds are here in my backyard, and just, be loft blind. And I said, nope. So my goal is to go around, see what everybody else is flying, compare what I have to theirs. And then, if I need to make adjustments, I make adjustments. But how am I going to be the best if
it's like football, man? That, you gotta watch the tape.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I know. I want to go to that. I will. It's going to be a thing next year for sure. This year, I am just going to focus on putting my setup together and getting my few birds that I got breeding, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Learn how to fly the ones I got and see what's going on there. I had like 60 birds flying at one time, and not everything I did was right. So I'm learning all over.
I like that. I like that term.
You know what? That's a lot of people become loft blind. They think they have the greatest thing in the world. In their backyard, the greatest birds in the world, and sometimes they need a shot of reality. It comes in the form of a competition.
Well, that's what's really cool about the roller club you guys have. The V.F.R.C. It's you guys all really push each other to be better, and that's a good healthy competition right there. to challenge each other and push each other up that way. I like that. I mean, that's
They've been helpful too.
Yeah, and it's helpful to the breed too. You know, it's good to keep that breed of the Birmingham Rollers getting better and better. You know, that's how we get all these crazy pigeons from one pigeon, is because we select and breed, and you know, we just keep going with what works the best. And you know, clubs like this, you know, you guys are creating a really good bird at the end of all this, all the family work you're doing.
I was lucky enough to become, so I finally I became club president this year. So that's been you know, it's awesome. That's all I can say. It's awesome. You know, we're a great club, a great group of guys. If you ever get a chance to come out and hang out with us, you know, we'd love to have anybody come out, hang out. These clubs, you know, use them as a springboard. Come out, you know, you get to see other lofts. Like I said, you get to go to all these other houses, or you know, some of our club members, see what they got going on. We love to help newcomers. You know, we love to share whatever knowledge we can share. Whatever we have, we share that. You know, the birds, same thing. You know, we help each other out, help newcomers out. And that's one thing that I love about this club. Sometimes, you know, the competition can blind someone, and you know, they just become a little too competitive, where it's no longer fun. And I think with this club, we make it fun. It's competitive, but we make it fun and enjoyable. And I think that's what I enjoy. You know, enjoy most of the hobbies, also the friendships that I've made along the way. I met some fantastic people along the way, and sometimes I think people lose sight of that, and that's one thing that people need to, you know, enjoy as well.
I met a lot of cool people there. A lot of cool people. I've been to 2, the lawn show, and then the last meeting at Adrian's. Yep, a lot of cool people.
You guys put on a pretty good lawn show too. I gotta say, you guys really do a well job on that.
I'm understating that.
Thank you. We're just gonna try to grow it as much as we can. You know, we're gonna try to make it bigger and bigger every single year. So every single year we'll try to make it bigger and try to, you know, promote the hobby, the fellowship, and you know, camaraderie. You just enjoy the birds, enjoy the people. It doesn't have a set weekend. We try to do it usually March. So you keep an eye out. March is usually when we try to knock it out of the way, since it's still cool outside, not too hot, and a lot of folks lock up their birds, you know, in March. Well, a lot of people that fly in the inner city, because of the falcon and the VOPs, we lock up in the wintertime to just avoid the bird losses. And so that's kind of when we try to get that show out of the way in March. And it's kind of usually that start to the season. So right after that show, it's kind of when we start the season. I know this year we did it a little bit later. I think we did it in May this year. But usually we try to knock it out in March.
You said that you guys are doing national flies right now, or what's the upcoming fly you guys are doing right now? So
there's 2. We have the young bird fly for V.F.R.C. That's going to be this Saturday, actually. So we'll have we'll start off in Tonopah. We have a couple flyers for that one. That's a club fly. The big one, which is a national fly, that's going to be October, what is it? 19th, 20th, 21st, and 22nd.
Yep.
Yeah, it's that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it's for the nationals, and that's going to be, there's 2 different flies. There's an 11 bird fly and a 20 bird fly. The 11 is that Thursday, Friday, and the 20 is that Saturday, Sunday. So the 20, I think we already talked about kind of how that works. The 11 bird fly, which I didn't mention, that's a little different. It's a national fly for the MBRC, but this one is to reward and promote depth with birds. So this one you don't necessarily need 5 birds to break with this one. With the 11, it's you get scored on every single individual bird rolling, the depth, and you get multipliers depending on the depth and speed of the birds. So the 11 bird is to promote the speed and the depth and the velocity in the birds. And you get 20 minutes to score as many points as you can with that one as well.
That's my competition there. I can only get like 7 or 8 birds raised at a time. They did that for me.
That's a good one. We just started doing that one this year, or last year actually. Last year we started doing the 11 bird. We've never really had a chance to participate in that one, and we finally got the enough people to to want to fly in it, and it was very fun. I didn't get to fly in it, but I went around and stuff, and you know, worked with the judge, and it was such a great fly.
Yeah, I've been talking a little bit with Alan about that one. I'm gonna go out there and watch him fly.
Yeah, we'll have to get the results on that too. That'll be interesting to see how these Arizona guys are holding up on it, man.
The weather's good though.
Some really good flyers here in Arizona. So
yeah. Well, hey, we're coming up against the clock here. Ricky, thanks for coming on and, you know, talking with us a little bit and sharing some of your knowledge and experience on rollers. Man, it's a lot to pick through on this and a lot to think about. Good luck on the upcoming flies for the club and with the nationals too.
Thank you a lot, man. I'm gonna try my best.
Can I put the whooping on him, right?
That's the goal. It just doesn't work out like that all the time. That's always a goal. I go into it super motivated, but like I said, we got some tough competitors in this area. It's a tough one.
Well, hey man, good luck with it, and yeah, let us know how it all goes, and we'll be happy to share some results on the Word on the Wire segment.
Yeah, no problem, man. And if you guys ever want me to jump on again, I'll be more than happy to.
Awesome. Thanks, Ricky.
Hey.